We are live.
We are live.
Hello.
Hey everyone, hi, this is Samrat Kishore. I welcome you all to the Baseline Show. Um, Good to see you all, and thank you so much for waiting through our technical challenges. We were having some technical challenges working through our streaming software. We made a slight change, and it seems like the tech doesn't seem to agree with that change. So we'll revert to the older setting. Um, okay, so I welcome you to this office hours. Today we are going to talk to the rest of the TSC candidates. We're going to be talking a little about the baseline standard, the standard that we all love the most. And yeah, we have an open floor today, so we could answer any questions people could have, or talk to Marc Haddle, who is currently at All Things Open. He's kindly agreed to join us for a little bit, so we're going to be having him in a short while join us and talk about all that he's experiencing at the event and all our easy meeting. And our veteran John Volpert is also there at All Things Open. He's speaking at a session, um, and we all hope to share the link to that session very soon here. Okay, so let's start. First things first. Tomorrow is the deadline for voting for the elections of the TSC. The fresh TSC will take over very soon, and I invite. So there are only three candidates remaining to talk to us. There are actually more, but currently none of them are here on the show today, so they couldn't make it for some reasons. But everybody knows Andreas, right? What he's done for us, and he needs no introduction. There's Ongen, who is currently at a workshop, and he said he will try to join us, but you can read his statement in the email sent out to all the eligible voters. Uh, Let me now invite Yoav to talk a little about his contributions to the baseline standard and also his vision for the new TSC.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Samrat. So I don't have too much more to add than what I put in the statement that's on the ballot, but I guess I'll just kind of give the brief of what I put there. So yeah, my name is Yoav, a software developer at Consensus Mesh. I've been kind of working in and around Baseline for about a year now, since I last was introduced to it last October at ETH Atlanta. I'm currently an active core dev. I'm working on BRI3 SRI project with the team, and I have kind of made it a goal to attend all of the different meetings and working groups and try and contribute and understand all of the different kind of facets of where baseline is being worked on and where it's trying to go. Another thing I wanted to mention was Amster based. So I kind of led the developer section of Amster based, our in-person baseline centered event that we hosted in Amsterdam. So that involved the Blip Bounty Hunt, which I'm especially proud of because it brought us a whole bunch of different blips and different ideas that were kind of crowdsourced from the community that give new developers something to kind of pick up and work on. One of which is Vibov, who we've had on the show many times. He showed off the calendar implementation, which was a blip that we started in the Blip Bounty Hunt for Amsterbase. So that was really cool. The standard itself, so I'm a maintainer and active contributor of the standard. I make regular updates to that, and kind of the goal for me of being both a maintainer and a contributor there is mainly to make it more digestible. So I'm not necessarily changing the standard itself. I just want the readability of it to be improved so that it's not such a massive undertaking for people to find it, pick it up, and go from nothing to understanding fully what it is that we're accomplishing. So that leads me to why I want to be on the TSC. So, obviously I want to be part of the discussions that shape the future of the protocol. I want to provide the perspective of a developer and give kind of that side of the spectrum of where things should go. And mainly I want to lower the barrier of entry, or at least help contribute to lowering the barrier of entry for new developers, so that people like Vaibhav and others who are interested in joining the community can more easily pick something up and contribute right away without having to jump through too many hoops. And yeah, that's pretty much where I've been and what I'm looking to do.
Thanks, Rob. We definitely need a lot of people like yourself on the team, and I super enjoyed working with you on the AMSA-based event for sure. So I can definitely vouch for your contributions there. And yeah, Blade Bounty Hunt was entirely. Yeah, you were anchoring it. Yeah, I definitely love that. So up next is our beloved Sonal. She needs no introduction to the baseline community, but I would still give her the stage to talk about her vision, and how she's going to continue the amazing. I hope she's continuing, but she continues to do the amazing work she's doing.
Yes, thank you. I am excited to run for the TSC this year officially. Last year, I was tapped in when John had to step away, and I had some big shoes to fill there with his leadership, and got to work alongside you, Samrat, as co-chair, which was really cool. But now, as an official TSC candidate, I to help drive the roadmap for this year. I did that last year kind of voluntarily, but I think this year it'll be cool to actually be part of it. And now I have been around for long enough that I understand the items on the roadmap from last year, why they were prioritized, how they were, and looking forward to creating a new roadmap this year. And I know last year we had a lot of stretch goals. They were really large items. And I think this year we'll be able to drill down into actionable steps to work towards some of those, or even break them up into smaller goals. I also help lead the core devs group, the outreach team, our work groups that we have, usually set up most of those agendas. And I think I have a pretty good understanding on how all the different groups work together, and how they support one another and add valuable contributions to each other. Like, for example, where the core dev work needs to feed into the outreach work. I also manage our grants program, where I report back to the EF and the mesh to justify getting funds for following years, as well as reporting on open grants, making sure they get voted on and are assessed by the TSC. But basically, I'm just excited to be on the TSC fully this year if I am voted in, and hope to kind of keep that like operational role, which is what I do in my day job at Mesh as well. So I'm excited to see the outcome of the elections. I know some conversations Samrat and I have been in recently were around how we can structure the TSC for next year as well to be as effective as possible, where we kind
Absolutely.
of focus it. Just looking forward to making our group more effective and being part of the leadership team. But that is all. And Samrat, did you give your statement last week?
No, I need to give my statement now. Last of all, which I'm super proud of. I'm super proud of this opportunity. But Sonal, I definitely agree to all your points, and let me also stress a bit. I think you've been asking the right kind of questions, and I truly love working with you. Over the past year or so that we've exchanged notes, and we've together tackled some of the most difficult situations in the whole enterprise. I think it's been amazing, working with you around the policies that we have, or the lack of policies that we have. So that's where we are. Thank you so much, Sonal. I also see Mark has just joined us, but I will quickly wrap up my statement. It's got to do with, so I have top 3 priorities, right? If I'm voted into the TSC for the next year as well, I have top three priorities. Number one is going to be around definitely defining and designing the roadmap for the next year and making sure how do we take the baseline standard to the next, the next wave of adopters. I think both in terms of people who are ready to contribute towards research reports like the one that we are sponsoring, the IDC report. So we need sponsors to come in to start sponsoring, specific initiatives within baseline so that it could, the whole objective can be further. It could be taken to real companies who pick it up and start using it. And of course, attracting more sponsors, working on the pitches, attracting more sponsors and retaining the existing sponsors. There's a whole cycle of sponsorship. There's a whole cycle of approvals which goes through into sponsoring each year. So working with Sonal, working with Oasis, and also representing baseline in the PGB for policy decisions. So I think that's my number two agenda, which is policy decisions, making sure that we have the right kind of policies, conducting an audit across the available documents that we have, and working out any corner cases where we need more policy or where we need to be in the right place, right? So I think that is something which we happen to be the first EA community project, and because of that, there were some corner cases which may have been left out. So we have seen some scenarios, we have imagined some scenarios, so we need to address that. So that's number two on the agenda. And number three is definitely breaking down baseline into smaller chunks so that could be picked up, adopted in various shapes and forms. I've also in the past year worked extensively with large organizations. There were some times when these organizations were a little slow to move in joining baseline. They need a lot of explanation on what it really means to them, and coming from an outside world. So yeah, there's a lot of effort which I'm putting in currently as well, and I'll continue to put in. Attracting the right kind of people who could adopt, who could build a solution for it, who could adopt that solution, and the third kind maybe standards, maybe blockchain providers. Who knows who all will come into this. So that's what I'm excited about. I think the most important thing which keeps me going is the way this community has come together. So thank you all once again, and thanks for this opportunity to present myself as a candidate for the next TSC. And I hope that I'm on and I continue doing what I'm doing. Okay, with that, I see Marc Haddle. Marc Haddle showed up for a little bit. So Marc, are you on? Marc. Calling Marc.
Oh, I'm here. Let's see.
Super.
Now I'm sitting here trying to do. Yeah, this is. Hang on. Wait. Welcome to All Things Open.
We can't see
We
you.
are. Huh?
We can't see you yet.
You can't see us yet.
We can't see you yet. Sorry. That's what I.
I found it. I found it. And it's not for some reason. This is where you're used to doing this on a mobile app.
This is like the news report from a hurricane scene,
Oh no, we just had it to where it's.
Yeah, I saw you for like 2 seconds and then you gone.
Yeah, I did. And the weird thing is I mean, the mobile app is sitting here getting all kind of screwy here. And
do you
here
want
we
to turn
go.
back? Oh, there you are.
There we are. Open.
There it
Welcome
is.
to Open here in beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina, where the sun always shines and the birds always sing. And so, but right now here we're at All Things Open, pretty well attended. We have about probably 3,500, 4,000 people here. I am here with Jane Harned and Carol Geyer stalwarts of the Oasis project here. In fact, we're here in the booth and with the open thing over there. And Jane has asked that I not, show her because she's right there because she doesn't feel as though she's done enough primping, I guess, to be camera worthy right now. We're all like, and Carol, here's Carol.
Hey, Carol. Good to see you.
Showed them the baseline.
We showed them the baseline, yes. So right now, I mean, this is, all things open source, which is, basically the whole open source projects that are out there, and they really run the gamut as far as industries and as far as applications. Really heavily represented this year is, a lot of interconnectivity. How do we sit there and, be able to have these databases that are, going to be the systems of record? How can they interface with maybe smaller, faster databases that, can do faster analytics? And those are going to be used not really as systems of record, but as ingest points for AI ML, which of course is really big. And so, that's the big thing that we're socializing here is, having the data and having a lot of it, that's great. But wouldn't you like to be able to attest to the integrity of that data, that it is the same data set that you have with all your counterparties? And people are like, oh, you can do that? We're like, yes, you can do that. You can do that. It's just right now, the way that you can do it now is, really kind of a pain to set up and maintain. So there's that. But, healthcare is here. Supply chain is here. A lot of banking, Discover, Capital One are here. And Meta has a big presence as well. So sitting here trying to kick off the metaverse, concept and everything. So we talked to them a little bit about that. IBM, of course, because this is, kind of in one of their big backyards here in North Carolina. IBM has had a huge campus here, gosh, since the late 70s. So a lot of blue around here. But really, it's really just kind of inspiring to see all of these young projects, fairly new projects that are really, articulating, what they do and what it can do for others. And we are, of course, part in that, but, we're kind of almost the old guys, now, because we've been at this for 2.5 years now. And, 2 years in, in innovation, I mean, that's an eternity. So, we also have at 2:45, we've got 2:45 is the blockchain presentation from Jerry Cuomo, which if you may or may not know, you've definitely heard John talk about him here and there. He was John's favorite boss that he's ever had in his entire career. So that's actually saying something. But he's giving Jerry was the head of blockchain at IBM. For a long time, especially when Hyperledger Fabric was really starting to develop, as well as some of the other use cases, around like Trade Lens and Food Trust that really showcase the capabilities of the capabilities of blockchain. And back then we didn't know what we didn't know, and we're going, why do you need a full-fledged blockchain? You can actually, still can use blockchain, and we encourage that, but you don't have to sit there and have to do all of this implementation work. This is a way of simply doing that, being able to achieve what you want to achieve. And so that's at 2:45. An hour later, John is giving his presentation at 3:45. Not on the main stage, but he's in one of the larger workshops. So I think they're anticipating, a larger audience there. And I don't know if that's because of just blockchain or if that's because of John's star power on its own. It could be a blend of both, because he's definitely kind of has celebrity status around here at All Things Open, just because for a while. So there's that, but that's at 3:45, and that's really what we've got going. I mean, it's not as huge as some of the others, like HIMSS or reInvent or any like Dreamforce and all of that other stuff. But it's really the quality of the people that we have. So I'll check to see if if we can get a link or a recording on that and stuff. And Sonal's been pinging me while I'm doing this over there. John's not anywhere near. I'd love to be able to grab him by the collar and say, "Hey, get over here." Show your face so that we don't think that you're in prison somewhere, or you've been quiet. So.
None of us think that, but we definitely want to see him back on the Baseline show, maybe as a guest sometime. I don't know.
Yeah. So
yeah, just make sure that he gets that message. He's missed here, and he's invited to be here as soon as his schedule allows. Okay, but I'm glad that he's back to public events.
It can be Old Timers Day. We can get we can get me. You're in there. We get John. Baseline OGs.
Oh yeah, sometimes. And yeah, who was this gentleman we met at Amsterdam? How can I forget his name?
The what?
Lucas.
Lucas.
Get Lucas. Get York and Paul and all the other guys.
Karthik is on our Zoom right now, and he's definitely one of those OGs.
Oh yeah, Karthik, yes.
One of the OGs, Karthik.
Yeah, but Mark, I wanted to ask you, what is it like running the booth when you're talking to people and they're asking about Baseline and the open source projects?
Well, a lot of people just kind of run around and they say, I'm surprised at how many people have heard of us. First of all, they're like, yeah. And they say, yeah, I've been hearing about this for a while. And I was like, well, we've been around for a while. And, it's one of those where we now, have gotten a lot closer to defining our standards. We have a reference implementation that'll be coming online soon, as well as a test harness not far beyond that. And so, yes, we can get you baselining. And a lot of people are like, one thing that we like about it is we like Baseline really as a precursor to a lot of our other projects that we're contemplating, especially if we're looking at tokenizing anything. It would just make a lot more sense if we went in on the Baseline approach, because it does give us a pipeline to the Ethereum mainnet, which we can then, if we want to go ahead and expand our smart contract development, our usage, or if we want to, start tokenizing assets, even tokenizing inputs and outputs. And, they're starting to say Baseline is a really good on-ramp for that, of how to get started, because it's, kind of a more purpose-driven way of plugging into the Ethereum mainnet than almost doing it just to say, hey, I want to sign up on Ethereum. I'm going to get a wallet and I'm going to go ahead and sign in. So it's like, no, you actually have a purpose behind it and stuff. So that's one thing I was really encouraged at. And, plus we've got a lot of grad students that are almost local at NC State or at Duke or at UNC, that are graduating. And, they are starting to, they want to find out what's the next big thing and stuff. And so we're, and he's like, blockchain seems kind of like it's been running for a while. And I'm like, well, blockchain's not going to go anywhere, at least not in the near future. It's just, we've got to temper the expectations and stuff. But what they're really interested in is to tell us a little bit more about this zero knowledge cryptography. And that's, it's where I'm like, glad you asked, because, right now, if you're starting to look at security, there is a really an emerging feeling that encryption, while nice, is not the best thing anymore. Cryptography instead of encryption is. Because, why cryptography as opposed to encryption, contemplates that you're going to have to unlock something. You've locked it up and you have a key to unlock it. Well, that key, if somebody gets it or somebody loses it, is the only way you can unlock something. Well, cryptography, a little bit different, to where you can say, look, I'm not sharing anything that I'm not allowed or supposed to share, but I can prove that my data set matches yours. And that's one thing that they like, because we're not just attesting it or assuring them. You're not taking our word for it. I'm giving you a mathematical proof that, yes, we are on, we have the same state. And so that's what they realize. So they're, expecting, the whole zero knowledge cryptography to get a lot more airplay now, because it is a way of doing a lot of the trusted, types of, executions or confidential type computing aspects that, are not as technologically costly from an overhead. From like, you'll see like Intel is coming out with their SGX, their hardware type solutions. Well, they got to buy it, and I'm sure it's not going to be cheap. And so, that's one. Or if you're using the fully homomorphic encryption, well, you've got to have a lot of provisioning as far as your technical overhead for that. Zero knowledge? No, pretty lightweight. And they're like, I kind of like this. So zero knowledge is really getting a lot more attention right now. So it's
awesome.
Good. And plus, I'm glad to see that, the different, everybody's still trying to, get advanced blockchain forward in different ways, using different frameworks and, just really trying to say, hey, guys, this is not the crypto, this is the enterprise use. This is how, can actually solve real world problems.
Yeah.
And,
this was actually very well said on one of the recent talks I was watching from Bogota on all things ZK, things you should know about ZK. And then they started by saying that we've taken over the term cryptography and crypto has started to mean cryptocurrency. It's rebranded. But yeah, it's good to know that, even the grad students are interested in stuff like that. And what's their background? Are they engineering students, and can we invite them to our research group? That would be awesome, right? Having fresh thoughts into the research group.
Having what?
Inviting them over to the research group.
Oh yeah, no, and that's one of the things that come in, with our research group, which, right now, these guys are trying to get their theses published and all coursework and stuff, but they're taking time out to come down to open source, and it's really something to see. Just the bright-eyed and just so excited for the future. They just want to try and find that path that's going to make the most sense to them, or the short, straight path that's going to make them, rich. And I'm like, hey, we're all looking.
There's no easy button for that. Okay, Mark asked you a question about any stickers around the booth. Do we have any stickers around the booth, or any little bit stickers around the booth?
We do have the stickers. Of course, we have the magic bus, which I do miss that, that magic bus kind of lead in bumper music that we had. We got to find that again. I think John's got it somewhere, or someone he might have given you away.
I have it with me. I just need to work up some of the equipment, because the equipment I bought is not working somehow. So yeah, I need to plug that in.
Oh, and Mark, to your question, the little bit stickers did not arrive in time. And it's a kind of a touchy subject. I don't want to get Jane all triggered again, because she's not happy the little bit stickers, because she did everything she could to make sure they were here. And alas, it did not happen. So, but right now, let's see, as far as, blockchain topics, I think Subtle asked in the question on there that are being presented. A lot of it is how can you build and deploy on different frameworks, what I'm seeing, because we've got probably 2 or 3 here that, okay, you want your private permission blockchain. You want to do that. You're all in on it. Fine. Okay. Fabric and Corda, while very established, do have limitations, and we have other frameworks. Hyperledger has Firefly. That is really trying to be a better, lighter framework for developing these private permission blockchains and stuff. And Kaleido, which is in the consensus incubation universe, is heavily involved in that. Ethereum, of course, everybody's talking about post merge. What's going on with the merge. And we're like, the merge has already come and gone, and it's kind of a not event now. So
yeah, it seems like a lot of people at this conference are well versed on blockchain related topics, which is really great considering it's a conference about all open projects and standards. So would you say that, because you went last year as well, right?
No, I wasn't here last year. I was actually, I'm not sure where I was. I was not in town at the same time. And so I didn't get a chance to make it down. And of course, we were still under a lot of wide public spaces and stuff. And so I was able to join virtually here and there. But being on premises is there's just no substitute for it. But yeah, blockchain's been around, especially around because we've been doing a really good job collectively as a community evangelizing it for those of us that have been in blockchain. And so, it is by no means dead. Anybody that says, hey, blockchain's pretty much dead, the evidence has been overwhelmingly demonstrative that that's not the case. So,
Well, it's I think that hype which was built around some tokens is dead. I think that's the only real thing which is dead.
well, again, it was one of those which it was. I think too many people got really excited about what it could do, and not thinking a lot about what it takes to do it. And it's almost like it's fairly costly. Yes, you can do it, but don't necessarily think you have to. But again, it was a way of advancing the technology. But I do see that. And if we have been talking a little bit, it's not formally, but it is, within a lot of the boost to where NFTs, while being very robust, are very computationally costly to mint and even to move between wallets just because of the gas and stuff. And zero knowledge proofs can basically handle a large part of the utility that you're looking for. And they're much more lightweight. And you basically have this zero knowledge proof that is anchored to an append-only repository, a blockchain, and everybody knows what it is. It's universally attested, and you've got the consensus in place. This is, watch that space because people are starting to look for NFTs are great, but we need something that's a little bit more lightweight. And that's what we're trying to say. Hey, take a look at zero knowledge proofs, because those can do the same thing. If you just need to be able to attest to a time, a place, a presence, an attendance, a range proof, and an age or whatever attribute of your identity, you don't need an NFT for that. In fact, and if you do have an NFT for that, you are just, it's doing too much. So that's what we've been going. So yeah, right now we are very much alive, very much relevant. I think the one thing that we want to do, let's definitely see what we can do to get some wind at our backs on getting our reference implementation. I noticed we had a milestone that we passed again last week and stuff. So that's moving along. And the test harness, because again, you hear me say it, can I get baseline by next Friday? And I think we're a lot closer to that right now. But one thing that we come in, people are going, this is too easy. This is too simple. There's got to be something more to this. Come on. And we're like, no, you're just thinking about blockchain. And yes, that is a lot more complex. This is not. And there's a reason for that, because there's a lot of us that are veterans of the blockchain space. And this was designed to, really get all of that moving as far as the utility in an enterprise setting versus trying to build something else that is going to rip and replace. Because of what blockchain is going to do, we're going to be contemplating ripping and replacing some pretty expensive systems, whether it's CRM or ERP. Those aren't going anywhere. So, but we can overlay those and we can extend your reach beyond your corporate borders in a very performant, very privacy preserving fashion. So that has been resonating quite well. So
That is amazing. Mark Rimza raised his hand, so I think he has a question for you.
Yeah, I got a question for you, Mark. Are there any other companies that are talking about ZK, any protocols that have this feature of ZK built into them, or is it just baseline over there? Because I know at DevCon Bogota, every single topic was about ZK almost.
So I'm sure the Kaleido folks were down there, and they're putting in because ZK is an element within Hyperledger Firefly that they are working on that is sorely needed, because we need to at least allow the capability for the reach in a process environment, in a multi-party environment, to where you have people that have to collaborate outside of their corporate borders, and they still have to remain privacy compliant as far as data privacy framework, or just their corporate policy or their security profile. I don't need you to send me everything I just need to know, hey, do I have this right? And you need to know, do you have this right? So many low-level business processes are that simple, and those can even be automated and then proven. So you can almost, in some of these, take the human element out of it, and be able to attest to the integrity. Kaleido's a big one. CouchDB is starting, not CockroachDB. CouchDB is here too, but I haven't had a chance to talk to them. But CockroachDB, as far as like, what do we do as far as when we have databases that need fresh data and we need to organize and do all the proper hygiene so that we can ingest it into an AI ML engine and allow it to start learning, we need to be able to attest to the integrity of that data. And we don't say,
interesting.
And that's distinct from making any representation or warranty of what's in it. We are just attesting that, yes, all of these people are working off of the same data set. So there isn't a misalignment, which is going to throw a code when you start to ingest it into your AI ML engine. And there is, for machine learning, you have to basically do some more input output cycles so that the platform learns what it is you're trying to give insight on. And so a lot of it has to do, before you can even feed it in there, we got to make sure that everything is lined up and pretty clean, and to be able to do that. So
yeah, that's pretty exciting. I mean, that's what the direction of a lot of these applications and protocols are going. It isn't necessarily just about privacy and scaling, although that is like the main feature of zero knowledge cryptography. It's just the ability to prove complex predicates in code. High level languages allows you to do all sorts of things, like a niche statement to attest that the integrity of the data is okay in a database, really anything. So that's what makes Baseline so fun. You can apply it really anywhere.
Yeah, and it gives another very impactful feature to your existing platform, to your existing, whether it's a database or whether it's an ERP system. You can now extend your reach beyond your corporate boundaries and not have to worry about falling afoul of your privacy compliance. And that's what is really getting a lot more attention right now. Another thing that I've noticed here is everybody is a lot more practical in their thinking this year. It's not all this, let's chase the buzz, let's chase the fluff. I mean, they're saying, hey, I want something that can actually do something that I'm going to appreciate or is going to make my life easier, or at least make my job suck less. And right now, anything that's going to save me time and money, yeah, sit down, let's talk. Just, am I going to have to spend a whole bunch to make it happen? Or can you guys come in and basically overlay my existing system? If it's B, we love you. So that's what I'm seeing. And that's definitely what Baseline's all about.
Yeah, that's cool. I think we should do another show talking about some of the ZK projects that other people have been doing, because I think it would give viewers a good idea of all the applications that Baseline could reach. Right. There were some presentations in Bogota that had a lot of ZK applications, and they were more Web3 based, but still a really interesting concept.
Yep. So, anything from anybody else? Anybody had any other questions from the? You still have your hand raised, Mark.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to put it down.
Not yet, but you should, of course, join us on future shows, Mark, so you can get back to talking to people and tell us how the rest of the conference goes. And Samra, I think we have one last thing for the show.
Yeah, which is Karthik, the one of the OGs of Baseline, and his statement. His candidate statement is remaining. So I think that's the last candidate statement we're going to be hearing before the elections end tomorrow. Thank you so much, Mark. Let me also thank you for joining us from the booth. You can hang around, or you may drop as suits, because you talking to the people there is much more important for us today. All right, Karthik, over to you. What we want to hear is a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, and what's your vision for the next ESC.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Good to see you after ages.
Yeah, it's been a while. Nice to see everyone on this call. Yeah, firstly, I would like to, generally congratulate Sonal and Samrat for taking on the mantle from the original showrunners like John and many others. You guys have been doing a great job, both in education, but also standardization. I think the efforts to get out a simple example reference implementation, onboard more types of enterprise users as well as students and the community in general has been great. And more cryptographers have also joined the mix, which has been awesome. So I just wanted to, and I have to drop in a few minutes, but I just wanted to take the time to talk about my contribution so far to Baseline and what I'm anticipating, what my vision in the coming future. So in general, I've contributed to Baseline from the beginning by being a part of the base standard, co-founded some of the areas for B2B communication, especially for privacy, smart contract interactions, and standardizing those interfaces. And along the way, we came across issues with generally scaling and performance on layer one, and worked with many of the folks initially on having a bridging mechanism or a bridging or for rolling up high throughput transactions from any form of L2 to L1. And that those ideas and in general has made us have scored a conversation with Vitalik, and which led to more funding coming in from the EF and so on. Sure. In the future or in the upcoming year, some of the areas that I'll be particularly interested in also be contributing towards will be to advance the usage of ZK systems. We have used like one or two types of libraries and reference implementations. As a standard, it would be great for us to expand it to multiple systems, or rather multiple implementations, like with new and upcoming approaches like ZK EVMs. Contribute to the L2 standards group as well, along with Sonal and Andreas. And definitely bring in more aspects of, more aspects of multi-party computation as well, because there's new areas of securing multi-party shards under zero knowledge as well. So we're using verifiable secret sharing and stuff. So these are some of the areas I'm definitely interested in from a more technical perspective, but generally looking forward to contributing and collaborating on educational angles as well.
You're muted.
So it was muted. Yeah. So thank you so much, Karthik, for that. And I do wish that you continue on the TSC and you're continuing with your contributions. I must say, when I joined Baseline and I was learning about Baseline, yours was one of the first videos. I think it was your video and Stefan. The two videos I watched even before I watched John's videos. So yeah, interesting stuff, and thank you so much for being around and helping shape Baseline and bringing it to the place where it is today. I think with that, we are at the end of today's show. It was a short one. We had some technical glitches starting up, but here we are, and I think we had a pretty good time talking to everybody on the show and also hearing things from All Things Open. So today, so that brings us to the end. Thank you all for joining, and see you next week. Cheers.
Thank you.